Hey, Mama. Welcome back to the Money Hungry Mama podcast. I want to start today by talking directly to the mom who feels behind. Not behind in a dramatic way, not in my life is falling apart way, but in that quiet, heavy way that shows up when you're scrolling, or when you hear someone else's success story, or when you think about money and your future and wonder if you've waited too long. If you've ever thought everyone else has already started, I should figure this out sooner. Maybe I missed my chance. I want you to hear this before anything else. You are not behind. You are at the beginning. And today I want to talk about why those two feelings feel so similar and how believing you're behind can keep you stuck when you're actually standing right at the starting line. So feeling behind is incredibly common for women in general. And it doesn't matter if you want a side hustle, you want more flexibility, you want more financial breathing room, or just want to stop worrying about money all the time. That feeling still shows up. And here's why. We are constantly comparing our behind the scenes to other people's highlight reels. I want you to hear that again. We're comparing our behind the scenes because you are living it in every single day life compared to people's highlight reels, the things that they're posting for you to see. We see finished businesses, confident voices, polished brands, overnight success stories. But I want to remind you what we don't see. We don't see how long they've questioned themselves. We don't see how many ideas didn't work. We don't see how unsure they felt at the beginning or how messy and quiet it actually was. Social media collapses timelines. It turns years into minutes. So when you're just starting or even just thinking about starting, it makes sense that you feel behind. You're comparing your beginning to someone else's middle and sometimes even close to their end. And that comparison is unfair every single time. Here's something no one really says out loud. The beginning of anything meaningful is almost invisible. The beginning looks like thinking more than doing or feeling curious but unsure, saving ideas, Pinterest boards, instead of acting on them, questioning yourself all the time, wanting more without knowing what more even is yet. This stage doesn't look impressive, so no one usually posts about it, but that doesn't mean it isn't real. In fact, that stage is where the most of the real growth happens. That beginning is internal before it's external. And because no one wants to talk about it, because it doesn't come with big announcements or confidence, we assume that we're the only ones in it. And you're not. Almost everyone you admire has spent far longer here than you actually realize. And it's so funny because whenever we talk on the podcast and I call them baby business, like they're in the first couple months and they're coming onto the podcast to talk about it. I start that episode by saying every single time, this is my favorite type of business because you are in the thick of it. You are in the growing. You are in trying everything out and having no idea what's going to stick. It's my favorite because that is truly the part that's going to set you for your future. This is truly the part that's going to really show you, do you have the grit and heart to make this work? This is really the part where you find out who you truly are. And I think it's a beautiful thing to be at the beginning. When we're in motherhood, it reshapes everything. Your time looks different. Your energy looks different. Your priorities look different. And we do not give ourselves enough grace in that moment, right? We're looking at businesses of young, vibrant, beautiful women who are just not moms yet. And we're comparing ourselves of, oh, just make the time for it. Okay, well, maybe you don't have the time today because your child has 104. All they want is their mom, and that is okay. But you need to stop comparing yourself to someone who doesn't have kids, or even has older kids, has more support, or started in a totally different season. You're never comparing apples to apples. Motherhood doesn't delay us, and I really want everybody to understand that statement. It doesn't delay us at all. It changes you. It teaches you. Becoming a mom, I don't know about you guys, but I say this all the time. If you knew me before having kids and we have not connected since, you have no idea who I am because I didn't even know who I was. It teaches you how to be resilient. It teaches you how to problem solve. It teaches you, oh my gosh, patience. Like, honestly, how many times can I answer the same question over and over again? But I do. And it's just wild how much patience I have now. It teaches you true responsibility. Yeah, you might have had jobs when you were younger and had things that you had to show up for, but responsibility of another human's life is just a different level. It also, the most important thing, is it teaches you how to do hard things tired. I know you know what I'm talking about. I know you know those moments where you can barely keep your eyes open, but you still have to get everybody ready for bed. You still have to finish that homework assignment. You still had to make dinner. And you do it. You do the hard things tired. All of this is just preparing you, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. Who you are in this moment and all the things that you have gone through. If you are listening to this episode, there is something inside of you that is truly urging to come out. And I'm here to remind you, you can absolutely start it, even if it's just those 10 minutes a day. So, one of the most damaging thoughts we carry is the idea that we need to catch up. As if life is a race, that there's a timeline we fail to follow, that starting now means that we're already late. And most of the time, I truly feel like it has to do with age. And I can go through every single person who started later in life and is enjoying it, is made it, is making all this money, is doing all the things, right? Like it is never too late to start something. I even saw, I'm going to tell you guys, the funniest person I saw on TikTok recently. I swear to goodness, he's maybe even 90s. And she talks about her dating life right there on TikTok. She has hundreds of thousands of followers. You know, she's making money. And she's in her 80s and 90s talking about dating on TikTok. Okay. Like it is never too late to start anything. You don't need to catch up to a life that was never yours. It was never yours. Your path is different because you are different. None of us are on the same path, and it doesn't matter who got there, who was just, they're never linear. So I'm never going to say, oh, it's just like part A to part B. That's never how it is. There's always the zigzags that you're not seeing. There's always the changes that you're not seeing. You're talking to somebody who spent her life going to school to be a teacher, and now I'm sitting on a podcast and a book coming out that has moms hustling because that is a life where it ended up leading me. Nothing is linear. Your path is never going to be the same as somebody else's. Everybody has different responsibilities, different values, different reasons for wanting more. So when you try to catch up, you're usually rushing your decisions. You're going to burn out quickly. You're choosing the things that look so great on someone else's highlight reel, but don't actually fit yours. And then you end up quitting because it didn't work out. So when we're looking at different people's, and I was so guilty of this, especially in the beginning when I truly needed the money, when I was a teacher, and the whole entire story is going to be in the book, but how we got into the mess that we needed so much money, right? And when it came to that moment, I was watching highlight reels. I was going to Instagram and watching these people make a ton of money and the comments and the things coming in. I watched this toy. She made plush toys. And I remember buying a sewing machine. Like I could design plush toys. No, I can't. No, I can't. And not for lack of trying. I bought that sewing machine. I watched tutorials. I tried to figure out the best way to do it, but it brought me zero joy because that was not my purpose. That was not my path. Yeah, she was killing it. She was making tons of money, but sewing is not for me. Embroidery is not for me. If you're watching somebody's highlight reel and you think to yourself, oh my gosh, they're making so much money, I should do this, immediately stop. Immediately stop because that's not going to make you a lot of money. That's not going to make you a lot of money. It has to be what you are aligned with, what is truly in your heart that is going to make you happy, because the only way somebody truly makes money is that grit and that heart. And I will repeat it to you guys on every single lesson if I have to. But if your heart is not in your business, if you're coming to me and saying, Brittany, I want to start this because I saw somebody doing it, immediately stop. Immediately stop. What lights you up? Because when you are exhausted and you are tucking those little babies in and you are ready to just collapse for the night, but you know you can't because you are building something, you are not going to continue your night to build if your heart is not in it. You're going to find ways to procrastinate, to say, oh, tomorrow, to just keep pushing it aside. Because if you're not in it, it's not going to be sustainable. It's not in alignment with you. And you're not going to get the confidence over time. Being behind isn't a thing. Being misaligned is a thing. There's so many moments in my own journey where I felt behind. I was only 27 at the time, and I swear to goodness, I was watching people that were even younger that were making it. And all I kept thinking to myself was, why didn't I start earlier? Why did it take me so long to figure this out? Why does everyone else seem so sure? And at the time, I thought something was truly wrong with me, that I couldn't make it in this world, that I wasn't made for being able to bring in more income to help my family. But now, being in this seat that I'm sitting in talking about this, I see something now that I didn't see then. I wasn't behind, I was starting. I was learning what I didn't want. I was building resilience. I was growing into someone who could actually handle the things that I wanted. And it's so funny because when we talk about how I got here and all the things and trying the 30 different side hustles. And I remember I had somebody was like, wow, that was like a lot of failed moments. Not one of those was a failed moment. None of them, even if they didn't bring me in the money that they were supposed to, even if I lost more than I gained, they weren't a failed moment. They were a learning lesson. I learned something in every single one. And I have those posts on my Instagram where you can see what I'm talking about. Like, I learned business through trial and error of all these different side hustles. It's not like I went to Harvard Business School. No, everything that I am teaching and doing is real life failure. It is learning lessons. It's trying it. It's doing these things. And I think if I can go back and tell that 27-year-old who was crying because she couldn't afford anything, that if you just continue to stick it out, you are in the right spot. You're not behind. You're about to become someone who is going to truly do everything she possibly can to help as many women as she possibly can. And I think it would have felt a little bit lighter, but at the same time, I don't think I would have continued to have the resilience that I had, knowing that this could have been the outcome. So I think there's something in the failures and the trials of having that resilience show up that truly happens because you fail, because it is that grit and heart that's teaching you, okay, I'm going to keep going in this season, and something, it's believing in something before it's even real, is going to happen and it's going to work. Let's redefine what the beginning actually looks like. I am not talking about going onto Instagram and starting today with a logo and a business name and a launch and a big announcement. That's not what I'm talking about. That is not the true beginning of what we're speaking of today. The beginning is admitting that you want to do something. It's admitting that you want more. It's paying attention and being sincere about looking at all of these different options and figuring out what is going to light you up. It's noticing what you personally hate and what is draining you, because let's just knock those out, right? We're not going to do that. It's getting honest about your capacity, okay? And that is something I need you to know, because there are so many mom business owners that we have now talked to. And I know so many that own brick and mortar that are working Saturday and Sunday. And if you guys have been following me from the beginning of writing my books, Saturday is my day. That is my non-negotiable. I refuse to work on a Saturday. That is me. I don't want to work on a Saturday. Saturday is my time. So you truly need to think about what goes into every single business and decide what your capacity is, what is going to keep you wanting to do something, and to stop with the thought that it's too late, right? That is the true beginning. It's knowing, okay, I could actually do this. I could actually change our lives in so many ways. The beginning is when you truly stop judging yourself for not knowing and instead tell yourself, I'm allowed to learn. It's not weak that I don't know what I'm doing. I'm finding the wisdom, right? You have to stop putting yourself down because you don't know how to do it right now. My goodness, nobody started knowing exactly what to do. I promise you, it's all through failures. And yes, their failures may be archived, but I promise you, nobody shot up and just was perfect from the jump. They weren't. There's failed moments, truly failed moments. Now, if you're still listening to this and thinking, I hear you, but I still feel behind, I want to ask a different question. Instead of asking, how do I catch up? Let's ask, what does my beginning need? And maybe for you, that might be a nap. Maybe your beginning is you're so tired and you're so exhausted from running on this hamster wheel that you just need to rest a little bit. Maybe it's clarity of looking at a bunch of different options, of dissecting all the YouTubes of different avenues, and maybe it needs patience. to sit there in these thoughts and in these moments and being like, okay, the pros and cons of each one, making the list. Maybe it needs encouragement. Maybe you're running over to the Money Hungry Mama free Facebook group and saying, guys, I'm thinking of starting this. What do you think? I think when we are in a space where there are so many like-minded women, I have noticed that yes, and I'm going to be so honest, I have very supportive people in my life. Like all 30 side hustles, my mom was one of the first ones to know that I was doing it. And every single time she was like, I love that idea. This is great. Anybody that knows my mom knows what I'm talking about. But if you don't have that and you don't have that encouragement, I have this free space for you to be seen, to be heard, to ask questions. It's right there in the Money Hungry Mama free Facebook group. Put it in there. Tell us what you want to do. Get advice. Ask questions. That is the meaning of community, is for showing up for each other when you have the same heart and passion for the same topic, right? I'm giving you permission to go slow. You don't have to rush into 30 side hustles like I did. You don't. You can absolutely go slow into it because a beginning isn't perfect. It's never. You're standing exactly where most real stories start, right before the first step. And that step doesn't have to be big. It does have to be viral. It doesn't have to be the next incredible product that's going to change the world. It just has to be yours. This is the season that all those late nights and all of those failed side hustles and all of those words compiling together for a book is the part that matters. If you take anything away from today, I hope you realize that it is never too late. It is never too late to chase something that is on your heart, to do what you want to do, to live the life that you genuinely want. Because if anything, you're just at your beginning. And I promise it's a beautiful, fun, scary, wonderful place to be. And everyone started here. I'm really glad you're here. I'll talk to you next time. Stay hungry.